Say goodbye to your empty calendar and say hello to LinkedIn automation. Today, I'm going to be breaking down how I completely automated my LinkedIn lead generation and sourcing for meetings on a day-to-day basis. And so in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly the tools I use, which are going to be N8N, Apollo, Phantom Buster, and then different AIs to do your LinkedIn lead generation completely for you. Because we all know we hate spending hours and hours on LinkedIn, and it can be very time consuming to stay up to date with all the people that are messaging back and forth, connecting with the right audience, and actually converting those people to meetings. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but don't worry, I'm here for you, and we're going to be doing it together. So this is going to be a multi-part video series, and this is step one. And so you guys don't miss out on the rest of the videos that are going to be coming shortly after this, make sure you like and subscribe now so you get an update when I post that next video. So this first one is going to be super simple, pretty short. This is just going to be focusing on sourcing your audience, right? Finding the right people to connect with on LinkedIn. And the main tool we're going to be using for that is twofold. It's going to be one, N8N, which is what you see here. If you're not familiar with N8N, if you don't know N8N at all, it's all good. It's just a workflow automation thing, and you don't need to know it to do what we're doing today, because I'm going to walk you through every step, and all you have to do is follow directions. And as long as you can follow directions, you should be able to complete this relatively easily. So looking at this flow, what this does is it's on a schedule. And so what that means is that every single day at 5 a.m., it's going to run automatically without me having to touch anything. And every time it runs, it's going to find people that I'm looking to connect with on LinkedIn. And when it finds those people, it's actually going to put them into a list for me, and that's going to schedule the rest of the automation of who I'm going to outreach to and when. So starting off with every node in this flow, I'll just walk you through what each of them do. And like I said, if you're not familiar with N8N, each of these things is called a node, and you're going to want to familiarize yourself with some of this information. And if you're not familiar with N8N at all, you could check out some of my other videos where I kind of talk about N8N basics. But the schedule trigger is what's going to help us automate this complete process. So every day, 5 a.m., it's going to run. And then we're going to need Google Sheets. And so I will pop up the Google Sheets here for us. And that's not the right one. Okay, give me a second. Okay, cool. So this is going to be our Google Sheets. We're going to want to make 4 tabs. So before we get into anything, open up your Google Sheets and your Google Drive and make 3 tabs. One tab is going to say in campaign, one tab is going to say database, and one tab is going to say page tracking. If you've looked at any of my other videos before, this layout's going to look extremely similar to you, because a lot of the stuff we use for our other videos about, emails and whatnot, all our other automations, a lot of this is going to have some of the same fundamentals built into it. And so starting off with page tracking is the number one thing. All you do is make a tab, call it page tracking or pages, or really it doesn't matter. And then make something right here that says page or pages or pagination, and then just put 1. This is how we're going to be able to track the page we're on for the leads we're pulling. And that'll be important later, and I'll explain why that's important. So right now, just make that and we can go from there. The second tab is going to be our database. This is where everybody is going to go right off the bat. And so first they start off in the database, and then we're going to move them to our in campaign as they start in our LinkedIn automation. And for the database, you'll see that we have all these different column names. You can copy these from me, or you can just, once you download your leads, they're all going to have the same title. And so I didn't make all these titles. I just pulled all the information from Apollo, which is the database we're going to be using to find our people. And I just labeled them basically the same exact thing. However, there is a couple different columns that we'll need that are not included. And so I'll go through these, and some of them are actually outdated because I actually moved them into the in campaign, but we'll worry about that later. So icebreaker, intent, connection requested, booking link sent, scrape profile, connection sent, connection degree, message sent, reply OT. Most of these are actually completely unnecessary now. Like connection sent, you can see this is totally blank. And so I'm actually just gonna delete these because these are no longer necessary in our flow. I'll delete this one too. That's all in the last one. Connection sent, we don't need that, do we? No. Connection degree, message sent, reply OT. Yeah, we actually don't need any of these. Anyway, so here you'll need icebreaker, scraped, and scrape profile. That's all you need to add. Everything else is going to be included in this. I might cut that out, or I might just be lazy and just leave it in there, you know, organic way. And then we'll also need the in campaign. And for the in campaign, all you need is the pertinent information. So this can be ID, first name, last name, LinkedIn URL, title, email, company name, domain URL, request sent date, connection degree, and message one. The other ones you don't really need. I put them in there just in case I wanted to expand upon this later. But we need message one date, intent, reply date, booking sent date, and first reply. So that's what we need to actually get started. And you're gonna basically make a Google Sheets node. And to make the Google Sheets node, you're gonna click it in here. You're just gonna go, you know, Google Sheets, and you'll see it right there. And so you make your Google Sheets node, and it's going to be a get rows in sheet. That's exactly what it's going to be called. And all you do is add that to your flow. And then you're going to need to actually connect to your account. And so you can do this one of two ways. You can do an OAuth 2, or you can do a service account. I recommend OAuth 2 because it's generally just easier for most people. And so when you do your OAuth 2, you're going to go here, and it's going to give you some private keys and service accounts and all that stuff. You don't need to worry about that too much. It kind of seems intimidating, but there's a whole guide on here where you click, how do I do this? And it just takes you to your Google Cloud Console. And in the Google Cloud Console, it'll show you exactly the places where you put everything. It's super easy, guys. If you need help with that, if you're getting stuck there, let me know. But I have full confidence that you should be able to figure that out. And so you connect it to your Google account, whichever one you're going to have your Google Sheets in, and then you connect your sheet. You know, this one's called IFG Outbound Database. And then you connect this to the page tracking. Do you remember the page tracking is going to be, get rid of this, is going to be this right here. And the reason why we connect the page tracking is because we need to know what page we're pulling from our leads. Because for Apollo, the database we're using, it doesn't have any kind of built-in feature that tells it, hey, we've pulled these leads before, don't pull them again. And so in order to circumvent that, we need to do some deduplication, and we need to make sure that we're iterating through each page in the Apollo search. So we're not just pulling the first batch of results every single time, because for the most part, you'll just get the same people every single time. But anyways, I'll just run you through this step by step. So we'll see, we got 4 items in our page. And so we have this summary node next. Again, you click here, you click summarize, you just plop it in there, easy enough. And then you go to count, and then you just drag and drop page. And then it's going to say, okay, I see that here in my sheets, I have 4 pages. So I should output 4. And what that 4 is going to tell us is here, and I'm going into this one up here because I don't want to share my API key with all you guys. Sorry. And I'll go through the rest of this in a second, but it right here is the issue with Apollo, where guys, if you're listening, I say this in every video, you know, I'm gonna have to move platforms to like A-Leads or something if you guys don't fix this, but we need to be able to paginate and go through different pages. But anyways, the issue is that you can't go through different pages, and so you just go JSON count page, and then it goes here, and it's going to say, okay, we're going to go on the 4th page and get 5 results from the 4th page. And then from there, we want people in for me. This is going to be person locations, Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Glendale, blah, blah, blah. And we want titles for insurance, life insurance. And you just put all the titles and adjacent titles for the type of person you're looking for. This flow exactly we built for someone that's doing that's doing recruiting, and they want to recruit licensed life agents. And so that's what we're looking for here. But you can turn this into a sales tool as well. And so don't get caught up too much on the details. It's a very flexible tool that you can use for sales, recruiting, or just general brand building on your LinkedIn presence. And include similar titles too. Contact email status, verified, likely to engage. And you're seeing this blob of text here. What this is called JSON. And so don't get too intimidated by it. It's simpler than it looks. And ChatGPT is really, really good at it. And so if you don't know it, don't worry, because ChatGPT totally does. This should actually be 15. And so I'm going to fix that right now. And then going up here to the rest of what we need to design this, and this is an HTTP node, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of getting my head of myself. So this is an HTTP node. You grab an HTTP node, and all these HTTP nodes do is they basically send a request somewhere. They send it to, in this instance, Apollo, and say, hey, this is the data we're requesting. And so in this one, we're sending it to here. So think of this as like a URL. It exactly is a URL. And we call this the API endpoint. And on this API endpoint, we're looking for people. So this is the make people search to find all the information about your Apollo integrations and your API docs. You can just type in API docs and it'll pull you here. And then you can go people search API, company search API, whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter. This one is a people search. And so for this one, we're looking for the people. We do cache-control, no cache, except application JSON, x-API-key, and then you put your API key right here. And then you just fill in your JSON right here, and it's going to find the people that are like this. And since we already went through page 1, 2, 3, we know we're going to be finding people on page 4. And then sometimes with Apollo, there's going to be oh, that's probably old 5, so it probably is updated in here. I'll check that later. It's basically going to sometimes find the same people. And when it does find the same people, we don't want to waste our tokens on them, you know, for either our ChatGPTs, for AIs, or for our usage, or really we just don't want them at all. And so we, after this, find people, which I'll run here for your guys' reference to show you what the data looks like. We get, I don't know why that's contacts, should be people. We get this right here. And you see here, we found JD Green, insurance producer, blah, blah, blah. And so these are all the people that we found. You know, we found probably 15 of them. I don't really know. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it doesn't always find 15 if you have 15 elected. It doesn't always find 15. Sometimes it'll find 5, 10. It can change because if it finds someone with no contact information, it'll still pull them, but that'll be under contacts. And so if it'll find 15 people, if it doesn't find 15 people, it'll find 14, 13, and so on. But it'll definitely find some people, assuming you haven't exhausted your list completely. And then we go here to remove duplicates to say, hey, have we seen any of these people before? And this should be a fresh search. And so most likely we haven't seen any of these people before. And we can just scroll down and say, okay. People 12, 13, 14. Yep, we haven't found any of those people before. And then so next we go to something called a set node. And also, guys, duplication node, I should mention, remove items processed in previous executions, value is new, and then you just link the ID of the person. I kind of just glossed over that. But then you go to this node. It's called a set node. And so you go here again, you go set, edit fields, set, and then you put that in there, and then you map people. And so when we're going here, we map people to here. We just drag and drop. And then you have to type in this little JSON blob. And JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And what we want to find out what we want to do is we want to turn this blob of people into an array. And so we basically say array is array JSON.people, which is this right here, and then question mark JSON.people, and then colon array bracket, and then end your brackets. So that turns it into array. And this is just a necessary step to make sure that for this split out node, which the split out node just takes that array and turns it all into individual people. Because if we see here, we have one item, and then we turn that one item into an array. And then here, we turn that array into 15 separate items. And so now we can actually enrich these people. And this one's super easy, guys. All you do is map the JSON.id, right? And it's going to be, and I'll show you where it is right here. You just map the JSON.id. So each person that goes to the enrich field, it actually enriches their data and it finds their emails and all that other good stuff about this person. And then from there, we can see here that we now have enriched data on JD Green and everyone else that was in our array of people. So we now have his, let's see, should be his email, his company, and all that other stuff, wherever that is, email. Well, LinkedIn is really what we want. So we got his LinkedIn, we got James Green, JD Green. And so that's what we're going to be using for our flow. And then we're just going to go ahead and map the rest of this information. And so for mapping, all you do is drag and drop, right? You click here, drag and drop, that's the JSON ID. And then you do that for every field that you want to include. You don't have to include all the fields. I just so happen to, in case I needed some of them later. I didn't want to have to worry about it. But the main ones are, of course, ID, name, LinkedIn URL, title. Email is probably important as well in case you ever want to email them or create another automation around it. Headline, industry, things like that, city, location, blah, blah, blah. And then once we click here, and I should mention that this is going into the database. So when we looked at the page tracking database in Campaign, the Google Sheets that you guys just made, the database is where people initially start. And so now we can go ahead and I'll show you how it works. We click execute step, hit executed, and boom, look at that. We got our new 15 people in here. And then from there, we actually just have to re-aggregate them. So most of the job is done now. We found our people. We found the people we want to connect with, those insurance agents in Phoenix, Arizona. And then we're going to aggregate them so that it turns into one item. So currently we have 15 items here. And this is important because for the pagination, if you have 15 items and you go 15 items into here, which this is just going to add one page. So when we go here, if you remember, the page is for iterating through the Apollo API, being able to select the next page of results. So if we go here, we want to make sure that we can append a 5 so that our next page is going to be 5. And if you have 15 items going into this, it's actually going to append 15 times. And so it'll skip 15 pages, which is not what we want because we're going to miss out on a lot of people, which the database is so big, it really wouldn't be that big of a deal. But why not make things perfect if we can? And so for this one, you now go back to your IFG outbound database or whatever you named your sheet. You go to page tracking, and then you go page, and then you take it from the summary node here. So summary, and then you just drag and drop this, and I'll show you how it looks. So you just drag and drop, and then from here, you go +1. And you can see that's how it makes 5. It's 4 + 1 makes 5. And then from there, you run it, you let it do its thing. And then this is actually connected to another flow. And so I'll cover that in the next video. But what happens is once this triggers, it runs through this, it finds my 15 people, it enriches their data, it makes sure that we're ready for our next batch tomorrow, and then it actually schedules the next flow. And so this will trigger the actions of every other automation in the sequence. But that is it for the lead batching, guys. So that's how you're going to source your leads. So like I said, so you can see the rest of the videos and how we actually fully automate the system, because this is nothing groundbreaking here. This is just sourcing some people. Make sure you like and subscribe so you guys can stay tuned for when I drop the next video. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Cheers.